welcome back to another thought provoking episode of AIBiz. I'm your host Avik, and today we are going to talk about something that feels like the edge of the future: AI assisted software development. Yeah, but not just the hype or the write a sentence and ship an app. It's a dream kind of, but we are cutting through the noise to ask, like, what actually happens before the prompt, and how do we bridge the gap between a founder's napkin sketch and a functional product that actually delivers? So, joining us today, dear listeners, is someone who's lived that reality from both the enterprise and startup worlds. Please welcome Yaakov Sash. Welcome to the show, Yaakov.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's very exciting to be here, and I have a lot to share with the audience.
Amazing, amazing. So, dear listeners, as you know, like every day I introduce you with one of the lovely guests. So today I'll introduce you with Yaakov. So Yaakov is the former head of digital asset markets tech at Credit Suisse, and now the founder of Casso.ai. So he's built high stake systems at Merrill Lynch, JPMC, and Deutsche Bank, places where trust, precision, and performance are non negotiable. So at Casso.ai, he's pioneering something called vibe crafting, the, the missing step between what we mean and what the AI builds. So, if you have ever been frustrated by vague prompts, misunderstood dev requests, or tools that promise the moon but deliver spaghetti code, then this one is for you. So, I'll not take much of your time. Let's jump into the discussion. Welcome to the show again.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, there's just so much to talk about. So,
Yeah.
where, what is the most pressing issue, do you think, right now with vibe coding? Like, what are you hearing?
Basically, so one thing which is very common, which I often used to hear that, okay, we know that we have to do prompts, but how do I write the prompt? How do I get the idea? Like, how for this output, what kind of prompt I should be writing? And this is a basic thing which I feel a lot of people are coming up with, because people are using the prompts, but somehow um there should be the prompt which will actually deliver what you want. So I guess this is something which is very common.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hearing too. And I'm in the trenches, so I'm seeing this where non-technical people are getting all excited, as they should, because this is a new type of coding that didn't exist. And it feels like magic. You talk to the AI, you say, build me an app, and it just in front of your eyes, it actually builds you an app. And not just a barely functional app. It can build you a really fully functional app. And it's like, wow. I'm like, I just talk because a lot of these AIs, right? You can talk into it using the microphone. And so you don't have to type, you can just talk, and it's off to the races. It's building your beautiful app. And what generally happens after a few days is that the magic wears off, and the person realizes that like that they just spend they spent the hours trying to fix one little tiny thing. So it's a fast start, but then what generally happens is that you get stuck in the mud. You get stuck in the details because no one realizes how difficult software development is. One aspect is coding, right? Physically writing code. But the more important aspect is the architecture. And so, when you go to college, you're a junior developer, right? The big issue is writing code. Like, I have to write the code, and that's what you're being tested on. And then only later do you get realizing that there's a bigger picture there. There's an architecture to the code there's a there's a certain level of um, that you have to look at the edge cases. Um, what can go wrong? What is what what so you have the happy path, right? That's what generally people when they vibe code, they vibe code the happy path. That's the way that everyone wants to use your app, right? That's how you're supposed to use it. But you're not thinking about all the way that things can go wrong. And that's where people get stuck. And then when you try to fix it up, trying to patch up what you already vibe coded, it just becomes a mess.
That's really amazing. And I totally agree because I remember at the beginning, because I'm also from a tech and the product background. So I really understand how important the architecture is. And also, if I talk about the model, like whenever any client requirement is there, we need to understand, we need to create the architecture, which actually help define everything step by step. So, like SRS and Kokomo we used to do. So, but yeah, that's a very important and important step, I would say. Yeah, definitely.
So then what's really interesting is that um, what's going to happen next is that the enterprise is going to start doing vibe coding because people on the business side are very frustrated because they have long lists of things that they want to do for their systems to do. And it can take years for them to get, right, for them to actually cross stuff off their to-do list. So they're very frustrated. And so generally what they do is they'll build tactical solutions with Excel. People don't realize how much Excel is the glue of the business world. Like literally everything ends up in Excel and now in Google Sheets because you need a tactical system where you can just get stuff done because the business has to work, right? You can't say, oh, I'm not going to do this process because it's not in our system, right? So there's always a makeshift system, the real system, right? The real processes that go around in any company of any size that people use. It's like the glue that puts everything together. And the problem is that Excel and Google Sheets are terrible for this type of thing because they're not systems, right? You have to edit it. If they're not multi-user, I mean, you people can go in and change, different things, but it's not, you have to maintain consistency yourself. It's a lot of things can go wrong. In fact, when they've done, when they looked at all the spreadsheets, when they've gone through companies that have failed, um, and they've done audits on the spreadsheets, they've found that a majority of them uh, 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 have contained serious errors in them. Um, and so, it's very cautionary that the businesses are using spreadsheets. So what's going to happen next is that businesses are going to be like, oh, I can vibe code a solution, a real system. And that's going to be great. It's going to be it's going to be, in a certain sense, better than a spreadsheet. The problem, though, is that it's not going to have the right controls, right? Because who's reviewing the code? Who's making sure that all the compliance, right, rules are being followed? Who's following all the regulatory checks? So this is what's being left out, but it's very hard to stop, right? Once the tools are available and then people start using it, it's very hard to stop them.
I agree. I mean, when we got habituated with something, we cannot come. I mean, cannot leave that step uh, and immediately come out from that. But yeah, that's a great thing. I guess people gonna resonate with that for sure. Yeah.
And that's so what we're doing with the Castle platform is that we're building this is the next generation tool. So if you think of it, anyone who's familiar with something like a Jira, uh,
Okay.
so think of this as a replacement for Jira. but where it's AI native. So we're not patching stuff in. We're not writing Jira tickets, right? That's wonderful. You can write Jira tickets with AI, but that's just the patchwork. We're taking one step before that. We're putting in the business requirements um, into a living document, and we're going all the way down to the code level. So
Okay.
we will have traceability for the first time, all the way from business requirements down to running code in production. So when something fails, we'll know exactly where it came from. We'll know who was supposed to review it, who validated it. And because the challenge is going to be not, you know, how much code can I write? It's going to be how much code can I review, right? Because the AI can literally generate like you can't even, it's so fast, it can beat the fastest developer, right? So the challenge is not the coding speed. It's like racing a tractor against someone who's digging, right, with a shovel, right? The competition is not who can dig faster. It's obviously the tractor can dig faster, but the engineer who may have a shovel with them, right, if necessary, can say, you know what, the tractor has to dig there, the tractor's supposed to dig there, the tractor didn't do the right job. So that's an engineer's job, but who's validating it? We want to make sure that the tractor is digging in the right place. We want to make sure that after the digging was done, that the tunnel was dug properly. And that's the job. And someone's going to have to do that. And someone's going to be responsible for that. And yes, people are going to make mistakes and we will hold them accountable. So this is what we're doing at Casso. This is a complete rethinking about how software development is being done.
No, that's a great part. Definitely, I totally agree. Because uh, this is because AI is obviously fast, but how you are progressing with that is something very much to look about for sure. So and that's really hit home because I believe for a lot of the listeners, because especially those in the early stage startups or for the solo teams as well. Uh, and Yeah, and also I'd love to ask you, like, how is your approach at Casso.ai? Like, uh, intentionally different, or like, I mean, what are you putting in place that others are skipping? Because uh, what I can understand is like, when you are doing the SRS, and in the SRS, because we used to use SRS as putting down everything, the requirement step by step where it is needed. So I mean, if you can share like what different you are doing here.
Sure. So what we're doing is like think about we have a functional spec, right? That's a document that, anyone who's been in tech is familiar with that document. And then that document then gets broken up and we create Jira tickets with it, right? And then we have a 2 week sprint. And then developers build out the code and we test and we have a whole process, right? That's the agile methodology. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that can go wrong here because there's so many places that we're using humans to take a document, chop it up into Jira cards, right? Then we have to have developers write the code. Then we have to have, you know, we don't even put the unit tests in Jira, right? We have a separate place for the unit tests that's in code. We have a test. Each piece is in a different system, and it's a miracle that anything works. What we're doing is we're fundamentally starting with the functional spec because we want to start with the business requirements. So we have here business requirements. We're allowing the users, right, the business users to collaborate with AI because in this day and age, if you're doing everything yourself, it's like it's like showing off in front of the tractor that you can dig. Okay, That's very nice. You can dig, but you know how much faster you can dig with a tractor? Like, why are you still using a shovel, right? You should be using a tractor if you want to be more productive. So it's very nice that you can brag how fast you can code, but no one can code as fast as a proper AI agent. It's not possible. So the bar has that ship has sailed, and it's going to change. And we have gone so much in the last year. In the next 5 years, it's going to be exponential growth. So it's time to wave the white flag of surrender and say,
Yeah.
I'm a developer. I'm going to, instead of trying to beat AI, I'm going to collaborate with AI. So now we have, but we need a way that we can collaboratively work to create this functional spec, right? And we never really had this because we never had to. We used to use Word and documents and other systems, but it was never really designed to for a group collaboration, and especially not for the AI to collaborate with you as a peer, right? It's not like you're in charge and the AI is secondary. You're both bringing different skills to the table. The AI is bringing certain skills. At this point, the humans are still smarter than AI from an architecture perspective, but that's going to change in the next 5 years, right? At some point, AI is not going to be just better at coding; they'll be better at architecture too. So
Yep.
we have to be ready for that.
Mhm. Exactly. I agree. And so, like, you have worked across massive institutions like UBS, Credit Suisse, and now you're building for a leaner and faster startup teams. So, if you can share, like, what lessons can small teams take from the enterprise software processes, especially when it comes to AI builds?
Yeah, so and definitely there's a lot that obviously big banks. I've worked at some of the largest banks, which they do right. Um, Even though, it's very frustrating when you want to move fast, but they definitely have the processes, the 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 internal checks and ensuring that, the right teams are reviewing the whether it's functional specs or Jira cards or testing methodology. There is a lot of there that's very good. The problem is, though, is that the enterprise suffers from the same issues that anyone who's building their technology is suffers from, and that is that there's too many, that it's not one place to put there's no way to do the traceability going from business requirements all the way from running code, because we never had AR before. We never had this capability. So it's not like we could have done it before. It wasn't possible for anyone to have done it. But now that we have the tools, we have to start going to this place. And I do think that enterprises, especially regulated companies like banks, will benefit some of the most from this, because from a regulatory perspective, they will be able to show the regulators and say, hey, look, this is our code that's running in production, and this is where it came from. Like, we'll have full traceability, and that's gold from the regulator's perspective. That is gold. Another really big thing that banks will benefit from is that um, compliance is very hard. It's like playing whack-a-mole, because whenever you fix one system and you patch it, it causes a problem with another system that needs to be patched as well. So it's very hard to to constantly build in systems. So what they do is there'll be a tactical approach that they take, which is not a full system. Maybe it's Excel, maybe it's a spreadsheet or a process that they'll implement, a human process, a manual process, and that's tactical. But with vibe coding, together with a platform like Casso, they now have the ability to build in true system in a tactical manner that will meet regulatory scrutiny. So this is will be amazing for companies of literally all sizes.
Yeah, understood. Definitely. Oh, lovely. And so, if you had one bold prediction or unpopular opinion about AI development that more people need to hear, then what would it be?
So I would say that, and this is counter intuitive. I would
Yep.
say that in 5 years, humans are no longer writing code.
Hmm.
It will be illegal for humans to write code. You want to go even further, and but we will need more developers than ever.
Yeah.
And the reason why, so obviously it's counterintuitive because you're saying, hey, developers are not writing code, but at the same time you're saying that we need more developers. And the reason is that AI will be writing so much code, we will need all hands on deck to validate and make sure that we're aligned. This is even if we have, you know, super intelligence, right? Because, even assuming that we're still alive and, and humanity has not been replaced, right? That's a
Yeah.
big if. But assuming we have alignment, right?
Hmm.
We would still have to review and make sure that what the AI producing is aligned with human intention, human values, what we want to achieve. So the amount of code that AI will be able to generate will be um will be so much that we will need every developer will need. And this is going to be true for all domains, whether it's in science, medicine, engineering, law. I believe it's going to be the same thing. We will need even more of the people that have the technical skills, and the higher you are in terms of your skill level, the more important you will be. So
Yeah.
I know this is not a very popular opinion, but I believe this is what I'm seeing that's going to happen in the future.
Correct. Definitely, I agree. I totally agree. Yeah. Lovely. So, yeah, I mean, it's really, really great to hear from you. And this has been one of the most enlightening and grounded conversations I have had about AI and the software in a long time. And if you have taken something that often feels abstract or overhyped and given us a roadmap that's real, practical, and let's be honest, like very much needed, right? So, for everyone who's listening, if you are working on a product, a side hustle, or just starting to dabble in AI, then please remember this, that the prompt doesn't start with the keyboard. It starts with alignment, clarity, and the purpose. So, Yakov, like if someone wants to connect with you, what will be the great medium to connect?
So definitely check us out on our website. That's Casso.ai. That's spelled C as in Charlie, ASSO.ai. Definitely check us out. The platform is not up yet, but what we're doing is, if you connect with us, and if you we are actually working with some companies now that have gotten messed up with vibe coding and they need some help. So we are leveraging our methodology. Our platform is still not up yet, but we are leveraging our methodology to basically teach them. So we're not
Mhm.
just fixing their problem, we're teaching them how to use AI coding the proper way, um, which is functional specs first and leveraging quote code and then Gemini CLI and then others, um, to basically do the AI coding the proper way. So if you are a company that has either gotten messed up with vibe coding, and you're stuck and you need help, or if you just want to build something and you know enough to know that you don't want to get messed up with vibe coding, but you want to build something fast, you should reach out to us. We can give you a very good deal because we're using these companies as our pilot program. Um,
Mhm.
and definitely mention that in the comment. We didn't update our website yet for this, but it's definitely, you could mention it in the comment when you connect with us on our website if you sign up to the waiting list. And if you just want to use the Castle platform when it comes out, then just sign up on our waiting list, and you'll be one of the first ones to get to experiment and to basically practice this new way of software development. So it'll be very exciting.
Perfect. Lovely. Amazing. Great. So, great, dear listeners. I'll put all the links into the show notes for your easy reference. And thanks again for tuning in to AI Biz. And if this episode sparked a new idea or saved you from your next development headache, then do me a favor, share it with someone who needs to hear this. Until next time, build wisely and lead with clarity. So, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on. It's been a lot of